And I had spoken to somebody that said, oh yeah, we're a marketing company, mass transit. But when you looked at the level, it was like, oh, great, you worked with Disney. Well, that's as easy as possible. Here's $100 million that they want to push out their new movie.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. That's going to go across the board to every YouTube ad. That's going to, you weren't very strategic.
All right. We're back. And another episode of Expandable.
All right.
This one today, I have a podcast. I don't know if anybody knows this, but, people that are watching this, I have a podcast. It's called Exploring Growth. So go check it out if you want to.
Yeah, you got some great people on there.
We're doing some cool things, in the Central Florida area at the moment, interviewing CEOs, but, previously, maybe, 6 or 10 episodes ago, I had a conversation with some marketers, and we talked about this topic of, can you build a business without social media? And
wouldn't that viewpoint be skewed by a marketer?
Yeah. And that's the whole reason I wanted to ask marketers.
Yeah.
Because they're thinking, everybody's thinking about social media. And so, the conclusion that we kind of collectively came to was that, yes, there are some businesses that I think a lot of kind of, your typical marketer is not, the modern marketer is not going to be working at, because there's not enough for them to do there.
Yeah. Well,
but there are businesses that don't even have social media accounts. And there's some of those businesses that don't even have websites.
Correct. And, now that social media is so controlled and we've passed that first area, I think people are getting numb to it. Kind of like direct mail.
Yeah.
Direct mail over time, it was so much where actually now I think since there's less mail, people now look back at direct mail, and direct mail actually is a little bit more useful now than it was prior. So, definitely I know there are businesses that can easily make it without social media.
I was talking to somebody, and we've done direct mail before and had success, but I was talking to somebody the other day that said they used direct mail exclusively. It was a rental, it was a vacation rental management company. And, them trying to find their target people who are affluent, have a second home or third home that they're managing, that don't live in that area, maybe live in Berlin or wherever. Direct mail was a great way for them to get in front of those people. And I just thought, that's almost kind of savvy in these days to think that way. You're really thinking broad and not so I have to do it the way everyone's telling me to do it.
But, all in all, I think if the better quality and the better service you have, it is word of mouth. I mean, we're looking to bring on some consultants out of to do project management for us for some software conversions. And it was a direct word of mouth from somebody that's dealt with them.
Yeah.
They have a website. I looked on it, to recognize their face. But I mean, if they didn't have the website, that wouldn't have made any difference to me.
Yeah. You may have the question of why don't they have a website in 2024, but if they come to the table and they have the right questions, because with consulting, it's all about the questions. If in my estimation, being a consultant, if I can ask you a question that you never thought of, that's going to instantly show you that I'm an expert.
Now, having a website
domain.
About your person just to build credibility to,
having
when having people call you and realize, okay, I'm talking to Lee. He does have this business. He's not completely fake person.
Right.
May not know how good a quality your system, your business is until they work with you, but at least they know this is who I'm talking to.
That's right.
Is that considered social media then?
No.
Okay.
I think website is website. Social media is sort of its own thing. YouTube is considered social media at this point because of all the shorts. But I think there are a lot of businesses, and I'm going to say largely in the B2B category, that they can utilize social media to support all the other things they're doing. So in your instance where you say, I'm going to hire this person, I'm going to go check them out. I call that social proof. If you have a bunch of social media accounts, they're active, they're current to some degree, and they don't have to have all the...
At least you identified it's a real person, hopefully.
You're showing
with
that,
AI, it's going to be more difficult, but...
You're showing that you have a solid team and they're at work and you care about, what you look like externally, your brand. It doesn't have to be completely dialed in. It doesn't have to be Apple. It doesn't have to be the latest, greatest, million TikTok views or whatever. But if you're out there and you have all your stuff together, that helps to support the conversations you're having.
And the things that I look at is, it doesn't matter the quality of content of their LinkedIn account, but it's like, okay, if you're a professional in that field, okay, you've been at the same advisory firm, you're saying this for multiple years. that makes a big difference to me.
It does. Yeah. Yeah. Looking at the, and also I think paying attention, I think the details sometimes matter. It depends on who you're hiring for what, but if they've taken note on certain details, to actually have everything organized so you can not see the gaps, or if there are gaps that make sense, speaking specifically to a LinkedIn experience, list, those type of things going to go to the extra mile. But when we talk about social media or no social media, if you are, another way I would sort of categorize it is if you can buy a list of your exact buyers, name, title, email, address, phone number, then you basically can use social media as support to other more valuable outreach methods.
Yeah.
You can use direct mail, you can use, but that's kind of nuanced because you're not really buying a list that you own. You're using a third party that owns the list and they're renting it to you. So you don't really,
when the list changes.
Right. So direct mail is kind of a little bit different, but if you can buy a list and you can email them, you can call them, you can stop by their business, you can do all of these sort of analog, old school methods, then you can use social media to support those things as a method of social proof. If you can't reach your market directly like that, then you really do need social media much more as a primary channel or channels, and you need to know how to
awareness.
You need to not only have a showing of social proof, but you need to go beyond that with paid ads and understand how paid ads work and understand how to get in front of your audience, understand the targeting aspect of the tools and of your audience of who you want to clearly make your message, so you can spend your money well.
And I always have it, come up when you hear. I've never been in run the industry where the huge portion of the marketing was that big of your budget, but I've seen some sales of people, especially like people going to like Shark Tank, and they're like customer acquisition costs, and they're running through Instagram, Facebook, Amazon, to their sales, and say their product's $100, but it's costing them, they build a product for $25. Yep. Okay, great margin, but it's costing them $65 and $70 to get that actual sale on the social media. Yeah. I mean,
and then they have to,
and I'm thinking to myself, oh my goodness, all there has to do is one little change in the logarithm and you're gone.
Yeah, that's right. And it happens. But those type of shows, and those type of formats of what the investor's looking for is generally mass market, because if they hit on an idea that it already has traction and the cost of acquisition is under control, and they also see a vision for retention, then their investment's going to go so much further than a smaller company dealing with bigger contracts.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And I
always look at that. I mean, to me, the customer acquisition cost, if it starts grading, if it's larger than the actual cost of your product, to me, that's kind of a red flag.
Doesn't make sense. Yeah.
I may be wrong, but that's not a world that I really live in. But I would definitely have pause if it's costing that much, because it's like, wow, how are they more valuable than the person that gave me the raw product to begin with?
That's right.
So if so much of that has to be built in for that,
yeah, agreed.
It's not worth it.
I think for the average business owner that can't buy a list and typically are not in B2B listening to this, if you are an ice cream shop, I always use that because it's just kind of an easy example. But if you're selling a product to someone off the street, they're walking in, or even online, and you're trying to reach people, then you have to first sit down for a few minutes and think, where are my buyers? Where are they congregating? Are they congregating on Facebook Marketplace? Are they on groups? Are they on forums? Are they on even a more niche thing like Reddit? Or, are they walking down the street? Are they at this festival? Where are they congregating? Then how can I get in front of them that's meaningful? And don't just think about getting a sale. Think about a little bit further up the funnel to kind of tease.
Yeah, get them to really like what you're doing.
Get them to like what you're doing. In the ice cream world, here's a sample, right? But you got to go where they are to give them the sample. And then look at, okay, how can I put this message in front of them in a meaningful way for the least amount of money, right? It's all about the value to you. So that's when you start looking at, okay, we start running Facebook ads and we don't know what we're doing. Let's open up Facebook Business Manager. Let's take a little Udemy course for a couple hours, and now you know how to log in and you know how to set up an account. Now you kind of know, I don't know, 65% of what everyone else knows. All right. Now the rest of it is just testing. So you put an ad together, you put the, put $20 behind it and let it run for 3 days. Then you look at the results and you say, okay, well, we spent $20 plus 2 hours on Udemy, set up everything. And now we're running and we're trying to get some results. Is that working? Well, maybe we need to put $40 behind it. Maybe to put $100 behind it. Maybe we need to run 3 ads. Now you get into experimenting and testing.
See which ads work best.
Right. Yeah. It's really that simple for the average business. And maybe your business is a little bit more like you have the Reddit, you want to find people on Reddit and start those conversations. So it's a little bit longer tail, and maybe LinkedIn is where you're running your ads to connect with professionals or whatever it may be. Either way, it's the same type of path. It's how do we test and spend as little as money as possible just to get a taste of what is out there, and are we hitting the right market where they're at, and then scale it up.
Yeah.
So, for anyone's thinking about going down that road for paid ads to get in front of people they can't buy a list of.
You're kind of giving away a lot of what you do, but you are right. So much of it they can do themselves in the beginning and go through it and know what has worked and what hasn't. And then that's the best way to do it, because then if you want to then say, okay, this is working, but I need to maximize it. That's when you then talk to the professional and enough that whether or not that professional is any good. Yeah.
If you're a small business, do that, because it's just takes your time, just like everything else. And you got plenty of time, right? Because you're not doing anything. But if you have the cash flow and the bandwidth to hire a marketer, then you can hire, call them a marketing director or a manager. Hire someone that has done it before, and they can show you that they've done it before. And it's not, can you do the job you're going to do? Run through all that. That's going to be another good step down the road whenever you just don't have the time to do it or the capacity to do it. You're going to spend more money, but it's sort of a flat fee that you're spending to hand over the reins to someone and let them take it to the next stage. Yeah. I'd say beyond that, as you continue to grow, you have that singular person on staff that's helping you kind of manage everything. They're maybe even creating a little content. They're running a few ads. They're doing the print stuff. They're kind of a manager.
And organizing, yeah.
Right. Then you can look at a specialty agency that runs ads or creates content or does SEO or whatever they may do. And of course, again, ask them what they've done and can they do it before you get into a contract with them. And then they can double down on scaling up things that you've done that have worked. And again, for a lot of businesses, you don't even really need to go full on scale, because you're not trying to reach everybody in the US. You're trying to reach people locally, right? And if you're trying to reach people locally, you're talking about minimal paid ad dollars. But if you hire an agency to do it for you, now you have an additional cost on top of those ad dollars. And a lot of agencies are not transparent.
Well, they want to push, because the more ads they put out, the more they make too.
Correct. A lot of agencies are built around that ad spend. Which kind of gets back to some of the other conversations we've had, is like, okay, well, you're going to peg your value on how much dollars we spend. Well, all right, there you go. Yeah, that's where we're going to take you. So, but yeah, I mean, to the nature of what we're doing here, expanding, it's, and
when you,
social media can be good
on, let's say paid advertisements on, whatever social platform, shouldn't be the more money you spend proportionately should be kind of like
like a scale.
Yeah. That you get
sliding
more
scale.
In. So, if you're spending for every $10, you're bringing in 15. Mm-hmm. Now you're spending 20. Hopefully then you're bringing in 32, a little bit, because you're getting better and better. If it starts going the opposite way, and the more you're spending, now the less percentage, stop.
There should be an imbalance in the value that you're getting, cost of acquisition, cost of lead, just the sheer ad dollars you're spending, and then however you want to divvy it up to what the agency is charging. There should be an imbalance there, in that you're getting way more value than what they're taking, in my opinion, because that is a healthy relationship between an agency and a company, and that's going to be sustainable for the agency to have that client, and the client to keep that expert in place. If it's kind of negligible and you're looking at reports every month and you're kind of like, should we even keep doing this? Should we even keep running these ads? Or, then that's not really how it should go.
Yeah.
There should be somewhat of a disproportionate value to you, the company, when you start to get to that level, which is why if you hire an individual who has experience in this, and even in your industry, that would be even better, because they know they know the jargon, they know the keywords, and all that. Then that person can take you really a lot farther than you can take yourself, and potentially into where an agency
correct
would start to eat into those profits. So it's a little bit of a nuanced thing. It's not one size fits all.
You need to look at, like, let's say they grow to and look at an agency. You need to watch out for, agencies that have gotten stuff on the mass scale. But if it's like selling, soda, well, that crosses every board.
Yeah.
And, granted, they put $100 million a campaign on awareness. That marketer doesn't have to do anything inside. They're just putting it across every platform as many times as possible. That's it.
That's a great point. Small businesses should not look at big businesses for what they should do.
Correct.
And it's tough because there's not a lot of you can't look at small businesses and see what they're doing. It's hard to see a comp. All you look at is what you see on TV, and all these big brands are spending big money. You think, well, they're doing it, I should do it. No. Most of the time, no. Because of just what you said. They're spending on brand awareness heavily with no ROI, and they're okay with it.
Yeah.
I mean, there are still, to my estimation, lots of these enterprise level companies, boards, bought in brother-in-law type relationships with print ads still, and won't go digital. They won't even spend on Facebook. They will peel off a portion of it because they're getting so much flack, but they are still bought into the old school traditional advertising. And there's no ROI. They don't care.
Yeah, and I had spoken to somebody that said, "Oh yeah, we're a marketing company, mass transit." But when you looked at the level, it was like, "Oh, great, you worked with Disney. Well, that's as easy as possible. Here's $100 million that they want to push out their new movie.
Yeah,
okay, yeah, that's going to go across the board to every YouTube ad. That's going to, you weren't very strategic.
That's its own business.
Yeah,
yeah.
I mean, it would just there was no strategy in getting that out, but yet they thought they were so amazing because they worked on a Disney one. Right. I'm thinking. No. Yeah, nothing.
Yep.
Go take a localized thing and see what you can do.
Yeah.
You will fall flat on your face because all you knew how to do was, local person, you have $1 million so I can push it on every YouTube in this general area. No, I don't. I need you to highly target my exact customers.
That's right. Yeah, it needs to be, that's a really good point in that the smaller you are, the more targeted you need to be so that your dollars go further. These bigger companies, they can spend on a specific campaign hundreds of thousands of dollars just for community awareness around their brand.
Yes.
Which there's zero ROI on that. It's just that they may be leveraging that goodwill of those signs in this neighborhood to get whatever politician to do whatever. And, good luck on the ROI on that, like being able to measure it. You can't. So when you walk by that and you think, oh, that's clever, that's cool. Yeah, it's cool because they have the pockets to do it. And it's for a reason that you may not even know. That's not what you should be doing in your business. Yeah, it's got to be very, very targeted. But, we kind of got a little bit off on the PPC ad type thing, which is still the same conversation, but back to social media. In that I would say social media, if you can't build a list and you have to kind of be more mass spread, you're talking about word of mouth. Social media can be word of mouth if you utilize it correctly, a modern day word of mouth where people share things and comment. And you can get in there. It takes time though. If you run an ad, there are clever ways to run an ad and get people to comment, and then you could those comments going and get engagement. But that's not the end all. You're not converting anybody into anything other than just awareness. Unless someone's clicking through to that landing page or that product or whatever it is or they're coming by your store. So yeah, I mean, if I were put in a small business that can't buy a list, I would say, okay, let's go to Facebook first, because Facebook and Instagram, they pretty much have it all figured out for you. That's why the average person can, if they watched a couple courses on how to get in and set the account up, you can almost just, take a really,
and so much of it too, you can do on your own personal site. Just letting people know that I've had friends and things that have had years in one career. They've announced, "Hey, I've now into this career. If you are interested," and because they were trusted and always good people, maybe I will come to you now. And so it can be as simple as just letting people know in their personal side.
Yeah,
too.
it's true. It's true. Simple. Building an email list is always good because you stay in front of people, and those individual connections that you have, walk in the store, call your old buddy, whatever, put them on that list, and now you're in front of them weekly, monthly, whatever, and they know what you're doing. They're up to speed on what you're doing, which social media can be a good, thing for that too. But hopefully I've made that clear. We could talk about this more, I'm sure, but yeah, there are a lot of companies out there, and I know a lot of them that, barely have a telephone number.
Yeah.
And they're doing great.
I know. I just got referred to one yesterday, and literally they're excellent at what they do. Got firsthand referral.
Yeah.
And of course I put up the website just to make sure, okay, what do I know about this person? Any background? Do I have any connections with them? And it looked like a 1990s website,
Yeah.
but to them it was a financial professional that had the word of mouth network.
Right.
So it was like, I get it. There was no point for them to have a robust website.
Because they've had hundreds of people like you before that didn't care, because what they care about is the actual thing.
Correct.
And they've done it
Are
well
you
enough.
the
So
trusted person in that? Are you a good
That's right.
fiduciary? Yeah.
That's right. Yep.
Yep. All right.
Cool.
Great.
All right.
Great talking.
On to the next one.